Okay, anyway, let's watch the
The
video.
MMORPG genre certainly attracts some weird and wonderful
Let me
people
know
from
if it's too loud, by the way.
many different backgrounds, but generally MMOs have been more associated with nerd culture than other gaming genres over the past 20 years. I remember back in high school, all the kids that played RuneScape would hang out together, and all the kids that played WoW would also hang out together.
What? When I went to school, though, nobody played WoW with me. Except my brother, but he was older, and he didn't want to hang out with me at school. Obviously, so I was constantly trying to get my friends to play WoW, and I was constantly talking about it, and every time I talk about it, people would just walk away from me. So it was much sadder than this looks, where they have 3 friends. I had friends, but we don't forget about it.
These groups were seen as the nerds, whilst all the cool kids were playing Halo 3 or Call of Duty. I remember seeing documentaries on TV about how addictive World of Warcraft was, and hearing stories about people becoming so obsessed with the game that they died from playing it too long.
I forgot about that. Man dies after 19 hours. World of Warcraft session. Oh, hold on a sec. Wait a sec. One sec. Yeah, sorry, I got a message and okay. Okay. It's too loud. All right.
They died from playing it too long, or they'd pee in bottles to avoid going to the toilet just so they could keep playing the game.
Man, bathroom!
Naturally, after hearing these fierce stories in the news as a teenager, it just made me think, this game must be really fucking good if it's having that effect.
MMORPGs are addictive. Oh, you're sweet. MMORPGs are addictive. Wait, what? I don't understand the comic. Is it because she's like, I don't get it.
Effect on people, and thus my journey down the MMO rabbit hole began. 18 years later, here I am covering MMORPGs for a living. I've gone through multiple phases where MMOs have either had a severely negative impact on my life.
What's going on in this photo that would show that it's having a negative impact on your life? Like oh, is it that you're outside? This was before you went and started playing MMOs, so this was like the dark times when you were outside.
And an incredibly positive impact. So in this video we're going to talk about both the good and the bad about being an MMORPG.
Whoa. Oh, was he showing like how he's been working out and stuff?
So in this video we're going to talk about both the good and the bad about being an MMORPG player, ultimately ending in my opinion about the title of this video. Are MMORPGs actually bad for you? But first, sponsor. Many MMO players find it easier to level up in-game rather than real life, but with a pair of Raycon everyday earbuds, you can start to build good.
It reminds me of this. Classic WoW comic. The 5 stages of Warcraft. Stage 1, denial. Wait, what time is it? I didn't just spend 8 straight hours playing World of Warcraft, did I? Stage 2, anger. I can't believe I just spent 8 straight hours playing World of Warcraft. By the way, this applies to Genshin, to early any MMO. Stage 3, blame. It's because the stupid warrior class is underpowered. Stage 4, depression. 8 straight hours. I'm wasting my life. Stage 5, acceptance. 8 more won't kill me.
So what are some of the negative effects of playing MMORPGs? I think the biggest and most obvious thing is addiction. Most of the problems related to MMOs come down to just putting too much time and energy into these games, and every sub-issue I'm about to mention, such as poor social skills.
I'm not doing that to people. I am doing that to people.
Bad hygiene, unhealthy lifestyle, fucked up priorities and damaging your relationships is ultimately down to addiction or lack of self-control in one way or another. The easy response to this is, just play MMOs casually, lol. Yeah, easier said than done. MMO...
Okay, look, let's get the obvious thing out of the way. You can do this with anything in your life. It's not unique to MMOs. It's not unique even to gaming. You could get into something and be so obsessed with it that you only pay attention to that one thing and you neglect everything else in your life. It happens to people all the damn time with all kinds of different games and activities that they do. So that's the first obvious thing I want to say. Now, the second obvious thing I want to say is that MMOs have changed. I think that MMOs kind of got this reputation for, requiring a piss bottle by the desk because of the way that they were when the genre was more new. And MMOs were a lot more demanding of your time than they are nowadays. It feels like a lot of games nowadays, especially MMOs, offer more than one way to play it, which is like one way is the grindy way and the other way is a more casual way. And different MMOs are better at this than others. There's like a spectrum between how casual friendly is it, how hardcore is it, of course. But by and large, it feels like the direction that the genre is going in is like the developers know people don't have that kind of time anymore. Like they want to allow people to maybe spend an hour in it, a couple hours, and feel like they accomplished something. So there is all that. I personally have a bit of an addictive personality. I tend to get addicted to things pretty easily. Not drugs though, which is good. But I have gotten addicted to many games, and I definitely went through a period of my life where World of Warcraft was actively destructive to it, which I'm sure I'll talk about a little bit more. But I just want to say there's quick things that games have gotten more easy to play as a casual, and games have gotten and you can do this with anything, not just games.
By design are made in a way so that to achieve anything meaningful in game, you need to put in a crap ton of time and energy into them. Sure, you can play MMOs casually and have a decent enough time with average progress.
That's what I was saying,
but if the game's really good, the sense of progression is spiking your dopamine in all the right ways, and you're in that MMO flow state, it's extremely easy to fall down the slippery slope of addiction, especially for people who aren't getting any sense of fulfillment in their real life. If you have a boring, stressful life, and the only dopamine you're getting comes from video games, then naturally it's much easier to become addicted, because you're not getting that good feeling from anything else. Eventually, once you're deep enough into an MMO, you might join a guild that pushes progression raiding or competitive PvP, and here you're basically signing up to play the game for a minimum amount of hours per week, because it's what the guild expects from you to keep up with the gearing requirements. Not all MMOs are like this. Guild Wars 2 is a good example of an MMO with no gear treadmill that you can jump in and out of whenever you like, and not really get addicted. But for most MMOs, especially at launch or during a new expansion, they're extremely addictive. Everything's new and exciting, you've got thousands of other players all pushing progression and leveling together, and you almost feel this push to race against them, or at the very least, keep up. Why do you feel this push? Well, if you fall behind, there's that fear that you won't be able to find groups or do the content that you want to do.
With rating, when it comes to rating, it will, like, I've talked about this so much in the context of Final Fantasy 14 because I've done a shitload of rating in FF14. I've done a shitload of rating in WoW. You won't spend as much time rating if you play better. Okay. So basically, you just need to play better. Okay, you need to dodge more shit. You need a better team, because if your team is good and you put in enough time and you're not jicky-jacking around for an hour, 2 hours a day, you're not gonna get shit. You're gonna be there for 1,000 years. Like, do you want to get this raid done, or do you want to, faff about for the next 2-3 months? No. I feel like the people that are doing hardcore raiding, that are like go hard for a week or 2 weeks and get it done, have a more healthy relationship with the game, because they get it done faster than anyone else. Yeah, you might be away from society and, you might not see the sun for a week, but who cares? Because you got it done. As Sally would say, we have got to play better.
That, as well as wanting to feel like you're a part of something, which is another feeling that a lot of MMO players lack in their real life. So what's the problem with being an MMO addict? If you're having fun, then it's not all that harmful, right? Well, that depends. Last year when Lost Ark first launched, I got so...
Oh, and another thing I wanted to say about new games and novelty, which ties into this thing about Lost Ark. Of course, that he said, many games can feel addictive when they first come out, when it's fresh and everyone's playing it, everyone's talking about it. But that doesn't last forever for most people. Usually when the novelty fades and the cracks start to show, whether the game is actually good or not tends to be what keeps people hooked in for the long term. And there are a lot of games that seem good, but then the more that you play them, you realize that they're not going to keep you coming back forever. So it's sort of a combination. You need sort of a perfect storm to happen in your life where you don't have a lot going on and the game is really good and you don't have a lot to do. That can lead to this spiral of addiction and just throwing all your time away.
Addicted to that game, I literally could not sleep. Yes, I was having fun, but I didn't want to make YouTube content because I wanted to play Lost Ark. I didn't want to go to the gym, meet my friends, leave the house, give my girlfriend attention, or do anything else other than play Lost Ark. And when I did leave the house, my eyes were bloodshot red from looking at the screen all day. This has been the case with me in the past with...
Well, that's why Genshin is so good, because you can play it on your phone when you go outside. Yeah. You can play it on your... This way, you can leave the house and touch grass and still be playing Genshin Impact. In fact, it's gotten to the point where if I'm out if I'm out at a restaurant or something and my friends see me do this, don't. We gotta put it away. Put it away. We don't flip it. We don't do landscape mode when we're outside, alright? We gotta keep it up. Portrait mode only. Friends don't let friends use landscape mode in public when we're meant to be talking to each other.
So many different MMOs. RuneScape, WoW, Black Desert Online, New World, Lost Ark, Arcade, and so on. Whenever I've been addicted to an MMO, I've always been fully aware that this isn't healthy, but at the time I never seemed to care. It's easy to care more about what's going on in this parallel virtual life than what's going on in the real world, which occasionally can be a good crutch if you're going through some hard times. Sometimes, though, addiction isn't really that tied to fun or enjoyment.
Yeah, look at these people. They're going outside to gambit. Now you don't even have to do that.
You can be addicted to a game that you no longer enjoy purely because you've invested so much time into it in the past. This is quite a depressing state to be in, because you're putting time into something but getting no enjoyment back. You're chasing the dopamine hits that got you into the MMO in the first place, but those rewards just don't feel the same. It's at this point where you should probably take a break or make better use of your time.
I think that is the truest true that he has trued in this video, because that's really, really when it's a huge problem, is if you're playing but you're not really feeling a lot from it anymore. You're just like playing sort of mindlessly, and you're not feeling the fun and excitement and all that from it, and it's just you're doing it out of habit, almost just repetitively. This is a thing that I think people should watch out for, maybe more than any other thing. How do you feel when you're playing it? Do you feel good, or do you feel like it's just a sunk cost?
Another common issue that MMO addicts generally face is poor social skills in real life. If you're spending all your time typing or talking to people online and not face to face, then you might not be very good at reading body language or have experience in certain social situations. This was a problem I had back in high school. I chose to play WoW and RuneScape over going to parties and meeting up with friends after school. This caused me to be very socially awkward in my late teens. I didn't really know how to talk to girls, I had no confidence, and I didn't want to leave my safe online space.
This might be a surprise to some people, but I think of myself more as an extrovert. I love being around people, and I love parties. So for me, when I was in college and I was addicted to World of Warcraft in a pretty unhealthy way, what I would do is, like, I would play WoW all day until it was time for the keg party. Then I would get up and go to the keg party and do that all night. And then I would, the next day, come back and go back to playing World of Warcraft. That was like the cycle that I was. So, like, I managed to do the worst of both worlds. I managed to have multiple self-destructive habits, both from an introvert perspective and an extrovert. So yeah, that's all I did.
This was compounded by the next negative aspect of being an MMO addict.
When did you go to class? I didn't. I did not go to class. I did not go. Ever. I would go, like, for the first day, I would go for the midterm, and I'd go for the final. And if that wasn't good enough, I failed.
The unhealthy lifestyle. When you're addicted to MMOs, the last thing you want to do is spend time away from the computer preparing healthy meals, working out at the gym, exercising, getting 8 hours of sleep, and seeing sunlight. This will obviously have a negative impact on your IRL character and perpetuate your self-confidence and social issues due to probably looking and feeling like shit all of the time. And this brings me to my final point: messed up priorities. Like a character in an RPG has mana or stamina, we all have a limited amount of willpower available to use each day.
Okay, hear me out, right? Hear me out. So, what you can do is, if you're really addicted to video games and you can't stop playing and it's ruining your life because you need a job and you need to pay rent and stuff, what you can do is just get into content creation and YouTube. This way, you can play as all the time, but it's for work. Yeah. So it seems healthier, even though you didn't change a whole lot. It was for my job. I got to. It's research for my job. I have to do it. So, God, it reminds me of the other... I I went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago and I told him that's what I do. And he just looked at me with such sadness. Like, he looked at me with this look of pity I've never seen from anyone. And he said, "Oh, YouTube?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, I'm going to try to do it like he said. He said, "So you need them to click? You need them to click?" And I said, "Yeah, I need them to click." So,
in real life. Once that willpower is used up, you're done for the day. If you're addicted to MMOs, you're potentially using up all of your energy on a game that probably doesn't bring you a whole lot of happiness and fulfillment. Maybe you're unhappy with your current situation in life. Your job, your physical appearance, your relationships, the country you live in. You want to make a change, but you're using all your mental energy on a bullshit game that you no longer enjoy, that you'll have forgotten about in 2 years anyway.
no.
To summarize the negative aspects of MMOs, they're basically insanely addictive because they're able to give you a budget version of all the positive emotions you'd experience in real life. Being part of a group, feeling powerful, achieving goals, competing against other people, problem solving, and a long-term sense of progression where you quickly see the fruits of your hard work. With self-control, these aren't bad things, and it's why MMOs are so compelling. But it's when you let MMOs take away your desire to achieve those emotions and experiences in real life, that's when things can go downhill. This is basically what happened with me from 2017 to 2018 when I let Black Desert Online take over my life.
BDO?
I had absolutely no desire to make friends IRL because I had my guildmates in BDO. I weighed 105k.
But listen, okay? Look, the friends you make online are real friends, and I will die on this hill, man. They are. The friends you make in your guild, the people that you raid with in your FC, these people you spend time with, you talk to about how you're doing, how you're feeling every day. These are real, true friends. And some of these people I've known for over 10, 15 years in some cases, and they have been the truest friends I've ever had. So I would never discount that. I would never discount, like, the value that they offer and how you can grow and become a better person from just even having that as an outlet where you guys work together to solve the problem of the raid. Because it always, like, you get this sense of camaraderie, you get a sense of belonging that can be life-saving in a lot of cases. Like last year, I spent all year traveling. I didn't know anybody anywhere I was going. I was completely isolated. But because of video games, because of the friends I had online, because of you guys, I was able to get through it and not feel so alone. And I think this matters a whole hell of a lot. Yeah, anything can be bad if you ignore yourself completely. But I think that MMOs are good. I'm not convinced yet that they're completely bad, even though he's right that they do give you this sense of accomplishment, like a false sense of accomplishment, a false sense that you achieved something when you could have spent that time like learning a skill or a language or some shit. Yeah. But the thing is too, a lot of times games can motivate someone to learn a language or motivate someone to take up drawing or painting or writing. Like, how many people have done fan art and they became a better artist because of some stuff that they fell in love with in the game. So none of that, I wouldn't push any of that aside.
Kilograms due to not working out and eating a gamer diet. And I didn't feel any urge to progress or make money because I was so focused on my progression in game. Eventually though,
but I have done it. I mean, I know, I'm sorry to like pause him so much, but I know, with all that said, I know exactly where he's coming from because I did it. I know what it's like to have the game completely fuck up your life and where you have no self-control and like everything is spiraling because you're spending literally all your time in the game. I've done that too.
Which brings me on to the next part of this video, why I think MMOs can be quite good for you. First off, MMORPGs actually teach you a lot of skills that can be applied to the real
here we
world.
go. Here we go.
Here's just a few examples. Guild leaders and raid leaders practice management skills, organizational skills, as well as staying calm under pressure. Learning how to flip items on the auction house not only teaches you how supply and demand works, but it also teaches you to look for niches in markets. I learned to be extra careful about trusting people on the internet and avoid scams after I got lured into the RuneScape wilderness for my entire bank at the age of 12 years
Why did that guy just in RuneScape just say, "Let me suck it"?
old.
Did you see that?
If you're a top tier raider,
Did you see that guy who said that?
you're learning how to follow complex instructions, work together with other people and solve problems.
That was weird.
Many people who aren't native English speakers have basically taught themselves an entire language.
Sorry, that's what I just said. Sorry guys, English is not my native language. When they write a 20-page essay on
From playing MMOs, and
Oh
many
my God.
people have formed lasting relationships in real life with people that they've met in these games. But here's the best part. If you change your mindset to imagine that real life is an MMORPG,
It's true.
not only does it help you make better decisions, but it also helps you figure out what you want to get out of life. If real life had a user interface and you could see all of your stats, what would they be? If you could see yourself getting XP in real time and leveling up your skills, would that be more motivating to you?
Let me think. It is a good idea to have a hobby outside of the video games. What would my stats look like? Because lately, I haven't really been doing a lot outside of playing video games. I learned to cook. I leveled up my cooking skill. Yeah. And that's it. I can sing. I can sing a song. But I haven't really been working on that.
Every time you go to the gym, you're gaining a strength level. Every time you stick to a good habit, you're leveling up your discipline skill. The more people you talk to, you're leveling up your charisma. And as you're leveling up your IRL stats more and more, you unlock new quests that allow you to access new content. Perhaps traveling to new zones. Perhaps you unlock the girlfriend expansion. Or you gain new abilities in the form of speaking new languages.
I am traveling a lot. I'm exploring new zones all the time. That is true. In fact, there's this app I seen on the App Store called Fog of World, and it will like put the fog of war all over the map, real life map, and whenever you travel, it will like disperse the fog, so you can I think that's neat. Wherever you go, you disperse the fog, just like in the game. Yeah.
Snowboarding,
Girlfriend
mountain
expansion.
climbing, wilderness survival, and so on. This probably sounds ridiculous, but since I've adopted this mindset, my life has improved in so many different ways. You can literally open up Google Maps and ask yourself, if
Yeah.
I was an avatar in a video game, what would be the best zone for me to level up in? This is why I decided to move
Oh
to
my
Thailand
God.
over 3 years ago.
That's what I've been trying to figure out. That's what I've been trying to figure out. Where do I go? What's a good zone for me to level in? Really? Because first I went to Taiwan, and then I went to Ukraine, but our zone got invaded. Yeah, it became a PvP zone. That's really dark, but it's true. It's dark, but it's true. So I had to leave. I would prefer a PvE only zone if possible. I don't know where though.
There's less open world PvP here than most other zones.
Bro, I don't know. Maybe in Thailand. Maybe I should go there. Fuck.
The guild that runs this zone takes less of my money in taxes. Items at the general
Can I
store are cheaper.
live
And the
with
weather
you?
is nice, which means I have less mental health debuffs throughout the year. MMO players are probably the smartest, most dedicated, and slightly autistic group of gamers out there.
What?
Meow.
When a new MMO's coming out, they theory craft, speculate, invest time researching and planning out the optimal leveling routes before a game has even released, so that upon launch they achieve their goals as efficiently as possible. Can you imagine how powerful applying that same level of planning and efficiency would be to the real-life MMORPG? Literally, if you're unhappy with your situation, open up a notepad file and pretend that life is an MMO. What are your stats? Where are you questing? What type of content do you want to do when you reach endgame? Write down the different types of quests, features, content and expansions that might unlock once you hit certain stat requirements.
But the problem is that the IRL game is kind of pay to win. Which sucks. Yeah, maybe if I move to Vegas, then I can just do Gumbo. I can make it a gacha game. And maybe I'll come out ahead that way. I really don't see another way.
The problem with the real-life MMO, though, is that you have a lot of resources to manage. It's basically an open-world, hardcore survival sandbox MMO, crossed with The Sims, where you need to do a lot of character maintenance to regenerate your willpower and energy resources. Oh, and you can't max out every stat either, which means you need to be quite selective about how you spend your attribute points. Another thing that kinda sucks about the real-life MMO is that it's pretty pay to win.
That's what I said!
You can unlock new mounts with gold and not via random drop, and if you're unlucky enough to start in one of the game's hardcore full loot PvP zones with bad starting attributes, then you're gonna have a much longer grind to reach the end game. So are MMORPGs actually bad for you? That depends. If you're someone that will prioritise your in-game avatar's progress over your real-life avatar's progress, then yes, potentially. Otherwise, no, not really. MMOs can teach you a lot about real life, and I've met tons of extremely successful people who grew up playing games like RuneScape.
He has played a ton of World of Warcraft, and he is a Giga Chad, so I guess it just depends on you. It depends on how are you going to treat it. That's all. But thing is, like, when life sucks, when life is really hard, that is when people are probably most likely to get lost in an MMO. And I don't necessarily think that's such a bad thing. I mean, in the long term it is, but sometimes it's what you need. Sometimes it's just exactly what you need. In fact, I can't find it right now. For me, I had the worst time with addiction to World of Warcraft when my life was in the absolute shitter. I was really, really bad off financially. I was in a horrible relationship. Everything was really bad. But one thing wasn't really bad, and that was World of Warcraft. So I'm glad I had it. I'm glad. I mean, I wish that I could have like pulled my shit together and gotten out of all those bad situations, but I didn't know how to at the time. I was lost and confused, and I didn't know what the fuck to do. So I mean, I'm glad I was able to find any kind of joy during that period of time at all that could keep me sane. Because, I mean, there's worse shit that you could get into than a video game at a time like that.
WoW, Ultima Online, EverQuest, and so on. Level up both your IRL and in-game characters at the same time for maximum dopamine rewards, and to also min-max your happiness levels. But that's it for this video, guys. As always, let me know in the comments below if this was a dog shit video that made absolutely no sense, or perhaps you agree with me in thinking that viewing real life like an MMORPG has some actual value. If you want to follow my IRL character's progress towards achieving his goal of getting 99 strength, then join my Discord Gamer to Giga Chad linked below, where I post pictures every 2 days after a strength XP grinding session. I'm currently...
That is fucking cool, man. What a cool guy. Now you need to change your name, though. You're not the lazy peon. You need to change it because you're not lazy. The motivated peon. Not lazy at all, man.
3 months into this grind and have been pretty consistent. At this rate, I should achieve the 6-pack abs cosmetic unlock in about 2 to 3 months. Social media on screen, help us out with a like for the algorithm
What a
gods.
Chad.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
What an absolute Chad. That's, sorry. Oh, you can't see. The lazy peon. There's all of his links and stuff. I love to see it. I really do. It's a fantastic message. And I think it's super cool that he is out here motivating people to go and get jacked. Go take care of themselves more. And just not ignore their real life completely. But you can ignore real life a good bit. I mean, it's okay to ignore it a fair bit. Just not all the way. Not all the way. Thanks for this video. Since coming back from Thailand on vacation 3 weeks ago, I lost motivation to go to the gym. I was using my vacation as a motivation for the last 6 months. When I should have structured my priorities differently. I'm going to go to the gym right now and focus on improving my strength and health. Nice, man. In therapy, I made a breakthrough when I externalized my self-care as taking care of myself like a pet. I had to think of myself as a separate animal, almost like a Pokemon or something that needed care and love. It was my quest to take care of it. That's such a great analogy. I had to do that to separate all my negativity from it. And even though it felt silly, it allowed me to act different. I think that's what you said can be powerful in the right hands and the right frame of mind. I don't think it was silly at all. Yeah, so basically treat yourself like a Pokemon or like a video game character. Nice. I'm proud. I'm very proud of you. But yeah, I mean, I did it. I did have that time period where I just didn't go to class and I didn't do anything. I remember my mom showed up to my dorm one day and she said, "That's it. You are ruining your life with this damn game. Open it up. We're going to delete it. We're going to delete your account." And I said, "Okay, Mom." Okay. And so I opened up the Battle.net page and we went to the account management and I clicked like delete account or something on there, but or like unsubscribe. And I said, "Okay, this is it." She said, "Good. Good." And I said, "Yeah, that's it. It's gone now for good. Thank you." And then she left. And I didn't tell her that it doesn't actually delete your account like forever. You can get it back. Just anytime you want to, you can just play again. She didn't know that. It was restored immediately after she left. And that should have been a wake-up call to me. Like, something is clearly really wrong, and she felt the need to come all the way down here to do that. But no, it wasn't. It was not a good first step. No. I would have done the same. I mean, she tried. She could see there was an issue, but I couldn't. It was a great video. I did like it. Great message. But with anything can be unhealthy. Really, anything can. Here you go. Here's a link to the video. And let's turn the audio back here. Oh wait, no, was there anything else before we go? Before we move on? I feel like there was another thing I wanted to say, but now I can't remember what it was about addiction. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. There was another thing about this, Okay, so I remembered this period of time when I was truly very badly addicted. And I would go on all these sites that were like against MMOs. And I think there's still subreddits like that. It's like anti-gaming, anti-MMO shit. And you can really, like, you can go on some of these sites and hear people's stories and their testimonials about how much better their life is now that they stopped playing the video games. Like, there's some people who are like, ever since I stopped playing World of Warcraft, I got a beautiful girlfriend, and I got a new job that pays me 4 times as much, and I'm out here. I've learned to write poetry, and I can play the guitar and the kazoo, and I'm mountain climbing now. Here's a picture of me on top of Mount Everest, and I'm doing so good now, and everything's better. Like, there's so many stories like this, and I feel like that's, you know, good for them. I'm happy for them and all, but I also feel like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. and just stopping playing video games and stopping playing MMOs is not going to be the golden ticket that takes you to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Okay, like, you have to put in the work no matter what. If you just quit playing the MMOs, you're not going to suddenly have the job fruit fall off the job tree for you. It's not happening. You still have to do stuff, and that's the name of the game. Like, you got to put work into the MMO to get something good. You got to put work into real life to get something good. And that's something that, like, it's easy to get carried away on a lot of those stories about how much, you know, how quitting one thing completely led to all these other good outcomes. But it depends on you being able to prioritize and put in the work. It's as simple as that. So I think making MMOs out to be some kind of a boogeyman or anything else is silly. But another thing I'd add is I feel like there's a lot of life experiences I've never done, and I've never done because I have spent so much time inside playing MMOs and video games. There's so many things I never tried. Like, last week I went to a baseball game, a major baseball game, for the first time, and it was so much fun. So don't forget that you can have fun in real life too, even though real life sucks a lot of the time. There's actually fun things that happen in real life.